Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the major predictions. We are in it. We are running. Let's get to it. So we finally have some international competitions to predict, and this is where I get to share a lot of my opinions on a lot of the discourse that's been happening across the community for the past, I don't know, several months. We had a very long off season to say the least. The first matchup we get is finally SSA at LAN. This limitless team swept all the events. They were able to beat Young Money Clan twice in the finals. Unfortunately, I've been blanking on who they beat in the finals in the last event, but there was the whole throwing drama in SSA. Young Money Clan got banned, etc. This team, I think, probably could have beaten them with even ping, but we'll see how they do against the best of the best at this major. That being said, it is going to be a perfect sweep to start. Maybe not perfect, because I think perfect implies 0 goals scored. I feel like they'll get a goal, but it will be a clean sweep for Carmine Core. They're just looking like the best team in the world, and it is SSA's first time at LAN. BDS Elevates. Elevate's got a lot of hype around them. It's a young player named Sphinx, who's the youngest player to ever play on LAN for RLCS. He's just like a few days younger than how old Daniel was when he played in 2022. That being said, I will predict the BDS sweep here as well. It'll be interesting to see if these teams are able to take any rounds once we get to the O2 area of the Swiss, but that's for a few minutes from now. G2 Pioneers. Pioneers didn't win any events. They made the finals twice. The only time they didn't make the finals is when they lost in the quarterfinals to Chiefs, and they lost in the game 7 overtime. So a solid split for the Pioneers, but definitely a second best team out of OCE. Again, the top is looking very strong compared to everyone else. Vitality Complexity. This is a rematch from that spring major matchup where they went to game 5 and AJG missed a bad one off the post. AJG is now not on the team. He's the only player different out of this lobby. That being said, I don't think Dorito is on the same level of AJG. Complexity have had their struggles against Furia and Sam. They really haven't struggled against any other team. They might have a loss or two somewhere, but they've definitely consistently been second best in South America. So I will give them one game, but Vitality will take this win as well. Gen G Power. If this were a Gen G that hadn't beaten G2 in the last regional event, I'd probably be predicting Power to at least get 2 games here. That being said, Gen G have started to figure things out. Power have completely dominated OCE. I believe they've only dropped 8 individual games across the split, which is an absolutely absurd stat. I'll give them 1 game, and I think I would have given them 2 if Gen G hadn't won the event, like I said, but Gen G will be going through here. Gentlemates Rule 1. I got to stop scrolling down. I don't need to scroll down that far. Gentlemates Rule 1. I'm not super sold on this Gentlemates roster right now. They've definitely hit lower form as of late. That being said, I'm also very not high on Rule 1. I think Mina's getting a lot of credit based on the fact that they are Mina. They didn't really get any quality wins at the World Championship last year, aside from Twisted Minds taking Moist down in the wild card. I don't really think Mina did all that much at the World Championship to warrant a lot of the hype that they're getting. A lot of people have Rule 1 in their top 10 rankings, and I'm personally not seeing it. That aside, Gentlemates is definitely a step above Rule 1. I think this will be a challenge. I am going to put in the sweep, though, which is possibly a bold call, but we'll see how that shakes things up. I don't need to scroll. Stop scrolling. Falcons OG, I'm really excited for this one because I truly believe that OG could upset Falcons. I think OG have completely leveled up their game since the start of the split. They've looked a lot better every single regional. I think their regional 2 looked a lot better than their regional 1, and their regional 3 looked a lot better than their regional 2. So I'm really high on this OG roster. That being said, I do have a lot of respect for the Twins and TRK. It seemed like at Worlds last year, TRK was the driving force behind a lot of Falcons' victories, and the Twins obviously were on the upswing at the end of last season. So this does feel like a Mina super team, honestly. And so I'll give it a 3-2. I do have a lot of respect for OG, as I mentioned, but I can't, in my right mind, predict 2 Mina teams losing in this first round because I know I'm going to get clowned out in the comments. Luminosity versus Furia. This one is contentious. I think Furia is definitely the favorite according to public opinion. They picked up Trufino in place of Card, which is the last team we saw them with on international competition. I like this Luminosity roster a lot. I know I've said a few things about them. I'm going to say a few things about them more in the future on another video I'm working on. But I know She's and Magic Bear are both insanely talented. They have a lot of potential. Unfortunately, I don't think Luminosity's ceiling is going to be high enough for Furia in this matchup. I think I got to give it to Furia, but I will give them 2 games and see how they do with a slightly better game differential in the Swiss. Carmine Core Furia. I'll give Furia a game. I know they've dominated South America. They dropped the first event, but other than that, I don't believe they've dropped a single series. So props to them. They're looking a lot better, but I don't think they'll match up against Carmine. BDS Falcons. This one could be entertaining, and a lot of people will probably predict this to be relatively close. I know a lot of people have BDS as their second ranked team, but I've seen Falcons floating in that 4 through 6 range. I do believe that BDS are the better team, but I'll make it a banger. Game 5. I can predict a lot more Game 5s now that we're on international competition. And we flew all the way out to Copenhagen to get G2 Genji again. And I don't know what I want to do. This series is never. It's only gone to Game 5 once, or it's only gone to like the ace match once. Every other time it's been like a 4-0 or a 4-1, but the time that it did go to the ace match was in a best of 5. I'll go ahead and predict it again. This time G2 will get the results, and they'll actually show up on LAN. It'll be a coming out party for North America, and we'll be all hyped about ourselves. Gentlemate's Vitality. I don't have much faith in Gentlemates, as I mentioned. I'll give them 1 game to keep their game differential a little bit better, but Vitality, take that down. My coaster just tried to fly. Luminosity versus Limitless. Again, I don't see Limitless matching up against this. Luminosity has a great game differential due to this, and they'll end up winning that series. Same with OG over Elevate. I like the Elevate guys. Oh, so did we really fly all the way out here for a freaking OCE match in this 1-1 round? Of course, Power win this. It'll be 3-1. Complexity Rule 1. These are 2 teams that a lot of people are high on. That I'm not high on either of them. I'm going to be honest. I think Complexity are a solid second in South America, but I don't think they're as good as everyone's making them out to be. Rule 1, I've already talked about a little bit. I'll give it a 3-1 in favor of Complexity, though, because I do rate that South American region higher than the MENA region right now. I'm going to get lit up in the comments for that. I already know it. All right. Le Classique, or whatever we're calling it, on LAN. In the 2-0 matchup, winner goes through. I'll make it close. Game 5, Carmine go through 3-0. They've just looked unstoppable. They did the perfect split in Europe so far. We'll see if they can continue it at the major. And yeah, so far 3-0 through that. BDS and G2. No, I can't do it. I'm gonna get so much hate if I do it. I want to predict G2 here, but I'll make it go 5. I'll make it competitive. I'll make it like, oh my gosh, North America has hope. And I think just this BDS team is definitely a second best team in the world. I'm not too ready to predict North American teams to completely sweep everything. But let's just continue because I know I am rambling on a lot. We're already at 8 minutes and I'm not even halfway through Swiss. Genji versus Complexity. This is going to be a shellacking, in my opinion. I think Genji's just, if we see this matchup, Genji's going to smack them into the dirt. A lot of people think it might be close, but I think this is where we start to see that, a lot of the talk around NA is, no, they didn't match up well against Europe. Nobody matched up well against Europe last year. And I think one thing that got overshadowed a little bit was the start of the fall of a lot of the emerging regions. Like MENA did not do so well at Worlds. South America didn't do so well at Worlds, nor did they do very well at the Spring Major. I think they had 1 win with Ninja Pajamas getting that win over Furia. But I really think a lot of the struggles of the emerging regions were really covered up by the fact that North America couldn't really compete against Europe. I think North America is a very solid second ranked region. And I think we're going to start to see that with matches like this Genji Complexity. Gentlemate's Power. I just talked so much about the fall off of emerging regions, and I'm considering having Power make this upset. I'm not going to have it. I'm going to make it 3-2. I'll make it dangerous. I'll make it close, but I think Power is being slept on solely due to the fact that they're OCE. They are going to get to boot camp a little bit before the event. We'll see what they're able to pull off. Falcons Luminosity. I already predicted OG to lose to Falcons, and I do think OG is a better team than Luminosity. I'll make this a 3-1. Oh. Furia OG. Yeah, I'm doing it. I've had a lot of faith in South America for a long time, but it's time to have some faith in my North American guys. I like this OG roster. I think they're firing on another cylinder, like I said, and I think they'll pull off what is going to be considered a pretty big upset and definitely solidify North America as like, okay, maybe they haven't completely fallen off as much as we're hyping them up to have. Because, yeah, I've explained that. Rule 1 Limitless, I'll give them a game. This one, I'll pull the upset. I know Pioneers were solid in OCE, but I think this Elevate roster could get a lot of momentum if they get a game in this matchup. I feel like Pioneers will be sweating, and I think, yeah, I mean, let's go for it. I'm excited. I would love to see the reaction if Elevate win a game on LAN. G2 Falcons. This is the Johnny Boy match. Let's be real. This is a match where a lot of people are like, okay, where does G2 rank amongst? It's like it's been a pretty clear top 6, I'd say, with it being the top 4 from Europe and then G2 and Falcons. And so a lot of debate is which one of these teams is higher, as well as where do they rank among the top 6 or the top 4 in Europe. It's got to go 5. You just know it has to go 5. I'm giving it to G2. I'll give it to them. They're 3-3-1. That's a insanely difficult draw from Falcons, considering they had. Bro, where did they come from? Oh, they came from here. They beat Limitless, and they lost to BDS. Vitality OG. I know I've been hyped about OG, but I'm not hyped enough to make him beat Vitality. I'm sorry. Genji will be taking down Gentlemates, though, 3-1. I'm not even going to give him 5 games. I think this Gentlemates roster is kind of regressing. I was very high on them at the start of the season. I was impressed when they made the first finals, but I think it started to go downhill for them, and I will have Genji going through over them here. Luminosity Elevate. That is a miracle draw if you're Luminosity. I'm already seeing the comments. I'm seeing them. They're coming through. Like, what are we doing? It's a Luminosity Mickey run all over again. But you gotta hand it to them. Gotta hand it to them. They'll beat Limitless and Elevate 3-0. Absolutely. Power in Rule 1. Y'all already know what I'm thinking. You saw my face there. Yeah, I'll predict it. I do think Mina is very solid, but I think Power will surprise here. I'm not saying that I think Power is the, absolutely better team. I think it's probably an 8 out of 10 times that Rule 1 wins this matchup. But let's make it interesting. Power upset Rule 1. Fury Complexity, we flew all this way out to watch a South American team eliminate another South American team, and it's not going to be any different. 3-1, Furia. Falcons Power, that's a very difficult draw for them. I'm going to give it to them 3-1. OG Luminosity, guaranteeing that we get 3 NA teams in the top 8. I think it's going to happen anyways. I don't want to predict 4 NA teams in the top 8 because it's pretty bold. Honestly, I might not even predict 4 EU teams in the top 4, and I'm about to get to that. But yeah, OG Luminosity, I think OG are definitely the better team right now. I think it'll be. I got to give them 1. I'm sorry, I got to give them 1. I like that team too much. Gentlemates and Furia. I've talked a lot about Gentlemates. I've talked about a lot about Furia's hype. I'll have them sneaking in. And so our breakdown is 3 EU, 3 NA, 1 Sam, and 1 Mina, just as it should be, honestly, in my opinion. I feel like that's a very good balance. If we go into playoffs, Carmine Furia again, we'll go ahead and make this a 4-1. Carmine's just too good. I'm bummed that we don't get Vitality versus Carmine in the finals because I think it would be a phenomenal story if we get that finals and it's Vitality trying to stop Carmine from doing the perfect split, which is so far Vitality is the only team to have ever done that. It is this exact roster as well. So I'm bummed we're not going to see them in the finals. And I can't believe they're matching up against G2 in this first round. Oh, this G2 bracket is a freaking... It's literally Space Station. It's literally Space Station. Space Station on land. We actually made it, guys. 4-3. 4-3. Absolute banger matchup, but Vitality will get the win. I have to have this matchup. BDS OG. Oh, no. God, it's all falling apart for North America now. I didn't want it to fall apart. I'll give OG 2 matches. They'll make it look competitive at the start of the series, but I think BDS will run away with it. And, yep, that's 3 EU teams at the top 4. And I'm sorry, but my national pride is too high. It is. It is. Apparently, Jack is my favorite North American, and they will be able to beat Falcons in Game 7. Listen, I know we're high on Falcons. I know they upgraded with TRK. I know they've swept Mina. I know they're a good team. I know they made finals at Gamers 8. But let's remember that this core, this team with Rawas and Clears, lost 4-1 to G2, which was the G2 of JNAP Chicago and Atomic, and lost 4-1 to Space Station at the World Championship. I'm aware they upgraded. I am. But let's get one thing straight. They have not been phenomenal at international competition. And in my opinion, Genji's also upgraded as well with the addition of First Killer. I have a lot of respect for Nolly, but I think now that they are clicking with First Killer, it's definitely closer. So yeah, Genji over Falcons. I stand by it. I stand by it. I hope we see it, and I hope I'm right. Uh, Carmine Vitality. If this were the finals, I would have Vitality winning and pulling it off. But 4-3, it's actually going to be an it's actually going to go to 7. I can't not predict 7. I've seen way too many games, specifically best of 7s, end in 5, that it's been ridiculous to split. Please give us some actual long, entertaining matches. BDS Genji. My national pride is too high. It is. It is. It is. Listen, Genji could do it. This is not impossible, right? Is BDS favored? Yes, they are. But Rule 1 is also favored over Power. So, yeah, I got to have it going through. I think North America, at this point, has not really gotten a quality win over Europe. Like, we have G2 losing to BDS here. We have Falcons G2's win to get out of Swiss League over Falcons. I guess this win over Gentlemates counts, but they got upset by Furia, so the revisionist history is always going to be saying, "Oh yeah, this doesn't count as a quality win." We just don't have any quality wins over Europe yet, and so I think this matchup does seal the deal. It gives us one, and then we get a Carmine Genji finals, which is what we were begging for 2 splits last year, and ironically enough, it pops up now. That being said, it's a bit of a boring final. If we have to do good semifinals, the final's not going to be too great. 4-1. I'm predicting it. Carmine Core do the perfect split. That's how the bracket shapes out. That's how I think it's going to go. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all at the end of March.